Hello everybody and welcome to Weather on the Go, all your weather coverage. In today's video, I will be talking about here the updated La Nina forecast going through the rest of the summer months into early fall, giving you an update on that. Also here looking at this week's into this weekend's severe weather risk here as well, and kind of giving you a preview here, an overall preview of what you can expect here this summer across the United States. But right now here, looking at the current alerts across the center of the country, we do have red flag warnings across the entire state of New Mexico and across the Texas and Oklahoma panhandle down through West Texas and into southeastern portions there of Colorado, and then extending back here westward into portions of Arizona and southern Nevada as well, with a lot of dry soil across this area. So heightened and elevated and even critical wildfire concerns here are expected across those areas as well. Also a high wind watch across portions here of central and western portions there of Nebraska, northwest Kansas, and far eastern and northeastern Colorado, with another storm system expected to kick up here as we head into late week, bringing a lot of wind and a lot of dry weather here on the backside of the storm system as well, here where these red flag warnings are, so do want to be mindful of that. Now let's kind of look at here the updated here probabilities of here the La Nina moving forward here through the rest of the spring into the summer here, and even as we get in toward the fall months as well. Now this is here kind of the updated here model output here of the probability of the La Nina conditions continuing through the summer. Now, as we go through the months here, we went through April, now we're going into May and June, and it does show up to about 80% chance of La Nina conditions continuing all the way through early June here across these, this model output. And really, as we go through the summer months, it's still going to be here at least 50% or greater probability here of La Nina conditions continuing all the way through the summer months. We may get back to ENSO neutral type conditions as we head into late summer into very early fall, but then here probabilities do go up again here above close to about 50 to 60% chance of La Nina conditions here returning, of a third peak La Nina here potentially 3 years in a row as we head in toward the fall months, and that looks to continue as we head in towards next winter as well. So looking at this a little bit further here, this is kind of a correlation of kind of the upper heights in the atmosphere, where you can expect a lot of high pressure systems to set up, where you can expect all your low pressure systems to set up, and where that here those heat waves could be here as we head into the summer months from May, June, and into July, and even early August as well. So this is kind of the correlation here, if you will, across the middle of the country. We do have a lot of heights here showing up across much of north central portions of the country, and then here a lot of your those low pressure systems developing up into portions here of Alaska, diving down with this here La Nina. And what this does show is that a lot of warmer air will be pulled in here across the southwestern and central parts of the United States, kind of extending down into the mid-south here as we head into the summer months, especially as we head into late May and then into June and July. And this is when here we could expect some pretty big heat waves across especially the western and central portions of the country here across those here time frames from late May into June and especially into July here as well. Now let's look a little bit deeper here as well. The temperature and precipitation anomalies following just kind of climatology, kind of following a spring of La Nina conditions here. So following a La Nina spring, this is kind of what you can expect as we head into the summer months of June all the way through August. So June, July, and August here on average. This is all of the years that have had spring La Ninas and then went into the summer months here from 1976 all the way to recently here around 2018 and really even 2020 as well. You can see on average here, a lot of warmer weather across the western two-thirds of the United States here, up into the north central portions of the United States, back into the desert southwest here with temperature anomalies, and a little bit cooler across this here, the southeastern portions of here the country as well. And that does signal more rainfall. A wetter summer is possible across the southeastern portions of the United States, with some tropical storm, hurricane type of activity, keeping some of the weather here quiet here, especially as we get into hurricane season. And then you can see that the precipitation anomaly, higher than the average precipitation probabilities across the northeast, getting down through the Tennessee Valley into the southeast, where into the Pacific Northwest and into the north central here United States. into the upper Midwest here and down through the Central Plains, more drier than normal conditions, with here drought conditions developing here as well. And this is kind of not what's going to play out, but this is the typical, La Nina spring into the La Nina summer type pattern here that you can expect as we head into the summer. So I did want to show you that. Also here, this is kind of the seasonal, the European model seasonal forecast as we head through the next several months here in through June, July, and August here of the summer. It is expecting very large high pressure systems here to kind of be really dominant across the western half to 2/3 of the country here. And this is really going to play a big role in the heat waves across the west and the and the continuing drought conditions across the west as well, with here a lot above normal temperatures being expected here, a lot of dry conditions here, spelling major, severe extreme drought conditions as we head through the summer months, especially here west of the Mississippi River here as we head into the western 2/3 to half of the country through the summer months as well. I think the hottest conditions here on this model kind of showing across the western portions here of the Intermountain West, and then getting down into the central and southern plains as we head to the summer. A lot of drier weather down through Texas, getting up through Kansas, Oklahoma, and then farther to the west here as we head through the summer. Now let's look at kind of what the precipitation output is as well. You can see under that high pressure system here as we head through summer, the European model's forecast for June, July, and August here this summer is showing drier than normal conditions across much of the western 2/3 to half of the country, from the north through much of the Great Plains and into the Intermountain West and into the desert Southwest here as well. A little bit of rainfall for the monsoonal season across Arizona, New Mexico, and a lot more rainfall across portions of the Florida Peninsula, getting up through the southeast and northeast here as well, with normal to above normal precipitation here is likely from the Great Lakes over here into portions of the northeast, getting down here into the southeast and the Tennessee Valley and Ohio Valley areas here as we head through summer. Got to watch the outer edge of these heat waves here in summer too. Where we typically have those very major heat waves for here a long duration here across the west. We have to watch here kind of the outer edge of this here, where we could have kind of MCSs or mesoscale convective systems, or even derechos here, kind of windstorms that kind of revolve around the heat waves here and feed off the instability here from the big major heat waves in the middle of summer here. So we'll have to watch that, especially I'm thinking as we head through June and especially July and August. We definitely got to watch that here across the outer edge of these heat waves. I think the most concern for that will be here in the upper Midwest through the Great Lakes into the Northeast, the Mid-Atlantic states here. So we'll have to watch that from kind of like the Dakotas, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Illinois, and kind of getting down toward the Ohio Valley in the Northeast and into portions of the Mid-Atlantic. It is kind of setting up to be kind of similar to the 2011, 2012 type of summer, if you do remember how dry and it was in the West, and a lot of those big heat waves with here several derechos, even a damaging derecho here across the Mid-Atlantic and Northeast here in 2012, and the pattern does kind of favor that here as we head through the summer months. Now, this is the official seasonal temperature outlook here from the NOAA team here at the National Weather Service, and you can see that well above average temperatures are favored across the western half to 2/3 of the country, where those big heat waves are expected here this summer. This goes through June, July, and August of this year. Also above average here into the Northeast as well, with a little bit of high pressure sometimes here moving through, but in general, most of the contiguous United States is actually expected to be above to well above normal here this summer, and that does spell trouble, especially along the outer edges of these heat waves, like I said, from the Dakotas down through Minnesota, Wisconsin, Illinois, and then getting down into the Mid-Atlantic and Ohio Valley and perhaps the Tennessee Valley areas, and getting over to the Northeast, with kind of those windstorm setups with the derechos, those squall lines here, and here a lot of the tornado activity as well around here, kind of feeding off that instability and the energy for those very intense and very major heat waves here this summer. And that is kind of shown a little bit here on the seasonal precipitation outlook from NOAA. They are showing below average here precipitation across much of the northern plains, the central plains, getting down toward Texas. A little bit of above normal precipitation across portions there of Arizona, particularly southern Arizona, southwestern here in New Mexico, with equal chances surrounding the Four Corners here as we had that monsoonal season starting to kick up through June and July. And then above normal here over into portions of the Northeast, getting down to the Southeast as well, where you have that here kind of La Nina conditions kind of favoring a lot more higher precipitation anomalies across those areas here as well. And this is kind of the seasonal forecast as well for the European model, as here we go kind of in the tropical side of things. Tropical storms, tropical depressions here, and hurricane seasons here as well. You can see above normal here season is expected across the Atlantic here as we head into, into the end of May, and especially into June and July, and all the way through the summer months here. And also here kind of above normal here across portions of the Pacific as well, and then kind of below normal as you get over toward the, the Indian Ocean type and the Western Pacific as we head over here into the other side of the world there as well. But yeah, in general, and above normal here, tropical storm, tropical depression, hurricane season is anticipated across portions here of the Atlantic and the Pacific, and even the Gulf of Mexico here as we head through the season, this hurricane season here starting here in just a few days, really, as we head through May and June and even July. Now let's look here at the more imminent weather, if you will, here across the contiguous United States. We do have a marginal and slight risk of severe weather here from the Central Plains down through here Texas and back over here into the Intermountain West as we head into today. A more substantial threat for severe weather across the Central and Southern Plains as we head into tomorrow. An enhanced risk, a level 3 of 5 here from portions of southeastern Nebraska through east central Kansas and north central portions there of Oklahoma, and then a slight risk extending from Nebraska into western portions there of Missouri, southwestern Iowa, getting down into north Texas as well. And then even on Saturdays, this pushes to the east, a slight risk zone from north central Illinois, western portions of Indiana, getting down into the foothills and southeastern portions there of Missouri, and getting down to northeastern portions there of Arkansas and the mid-south as well, with continued severe weather chances here through day 4 into Texas, into west Texas, and then northeast Texas, southeastern portions there of Oklahoma, and into southwestern Arkansas, northwest Louisiana here in day 5. And I do expect these risks to be expanding and maybe even upgraded here in the coming days with the model data that I've been looking at. So let's look, kind of skip over today, kind of a lower end risk today, and kind of look at the bigger here, a more substantial threat of severe weather as we head into our Friday. We do have, like I said, that enhanced risk from southeastern Nebraska down through east central Kansas, north central portions there of Oklahoma, and surrounding areas with a lower end risk as well. We do have a significant hatched 10% tornado risk from far southeastern Nebraska through east central Kansas, including the Wichita, Topeka areas, getting down here toward the Oklahoma City metro, Tulsa, and areas near here, those kind of surrounding areas as well with the tornado threat. But in general, 2% to 5% tornado risk here is surrounded by that here into portions of Nebraska, southwestern Iowa, west central Missouri, getting down here toward the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and Wichita Falls area here as well as we head into Friday. The wind risk, not too significant quite yet, but I do think here the wind probabilities may be expanding here with those intense updrafts. We could have wind gusts in excess of 70 miles per hour. We'll see how that works out. But the Storm Prediction Center is here showing a 15% or slight wind risk here across portions of Nebraska, southwestern Iowa, west central portions there of Missouri, and much of Kansas, and getting down towards central and eastern portions of Oklahoma and far northern Texas as well. And then the hail risk, we do have a 15 to 30% hatched hail risk here with 2-inch larger hail across portions here of much of southern Nebraska, much of Kansas, getting down here into central and eastern Oklahoma and far northern Texas, north of the Dallas-Fort Worth area toward the Wichita Falls area here as we head into Friday as well. We do have a lot of warm air here pushing up in the middle of the country. We've got a lot of 80s, a lot of 90s here pushing up. And then here along that dry line that will be developing here on later today and into Friday, we do have a very sharp contrast between very dry air with dew points in the teens and single digits to the west. And we got a lot of warm, moist air here being pulled all the way up here into portions of southeastern Nebraska, southwestern Iowa, where dew points will be rising well into the 60s, perhaps upper 60s to near 70 as far north here as north central Kansas around the Wichita area as we head into late Friday afternoon. We'll play that out here in the composite reflectivity. Got some ongoing storm activity. We head into late afternoon on Friday across west central Illinois. Maybe some elevated hail here, small hail with those storms. Other storms here pushing into western Iowa, far eastern Nebraska here, kind of the kicker for the severe weather as we head into later in the day. But to the south and west, into west central Kansas, southern Nebraska, getting back down toward the Oklahoma here panhandle. We've got to watch these storms as they kind of push to the east, developing as supercells initially, and that could produce introduced to the tornado threat, kind of those kinks in that line, and as these storms kind of grow upscale into kind of a QLCS or MCS as they push to the east here into portions of east central Kansas, southeastern Nebraska, maybe tailing its way down into northern Oklahoma here as we head into our Friday evening hours. And then this will continue to kind of tail down with back building into portions of west central Oklahoma and the eastern portions of Kansas as we head into the evening hours. The damaging wind risk here will be there, kind of increasing as the linear storm modes kind of take over as we head into Friday evening. So more of a damaging wind hail risk. Cannot rule out some tornadoes, especially if we get some storms ahead of that line or some kinks in that line here. And one or two of those tornadoes could be EF2 strength or stronger. So we'll definitely have to watch that, especially in the southeastern portions of Nebraska, east central Kansas, and getting down here into portions of central and eastern Oklahoma for that tornado risk into Friday evening. Then that line will continue to kind of shift down to the south here, kind of going along, kind of following the better instability axis down into portions here of Oklahoma, and then kind of falling apart as it gets down to northeast Texas. A very strong capping inversion here is going to be in play across those areas. So once they get to the Dallas-Fort Worth area, over toward Texarkana, getting back toward the Waco, Texas area, kind of going to be falling apart. Although an outflow boundary is possible, so you could have some gustier winds down toward the Dallas-Fort Worth area, Texarkana, Waco, getting back over toward Austin, Texas here as we head to Saturday morning into the early afternoon. So watch out for that. The instability on Friday, pretty strong to extreme. We got instability values of 3,000 to locally 4,000 joules per kilogram across portions of central and eastern Kansas. And then here's 2,000 to 3,000 joules per kilogram instability down into central and eastern portions of Oklahoma. We do have a little bit of a cap on the atmosphere, a pretty strong cap early on. But as that very impressive dry line pushes from west to east, that cap will be overcome, and we'll have storm development here from west to east across these zones as we head into our Friday afternoon. And that is all due to the fact that we have a lot of shear here in the environment as well, and especially in the low and mid levels. We got westerlies coming in here in the jet stream, and once that intercepts all that instability here late in the afternoon and the evening on Friday, that severe weather will be able to quickly here ramp up, and we'll have here scattered to numerous severe thunderstorm warnings, maybe even some tornado warnings. So do have multiple ways to get warnings here on your Friday afternoon, and even as you go to bed on Friday, we could have tornadoes, large hail, and damaging winds as we head into your Friday night here well after dark. So do want to get multiple ways to receive warnings here as that time comes around as well. Supercell composite values pretty high across Kansas, down through central Oklahoma here as well, maybe even to North Texas. And then here the significant tornado parameters, some pretty high values, especially into Kansas and Oklahoma here. And I did take a sounding near the Wichita, Kansas area. You can see a little bit of a cap here in the low levels, but that will be overcome very quickly as that comes through here, as that dry line gets closer. A lot of drier air in the mid and upper levels. That does signify here maybe 2-inch or larger hail. That's why the Storm Prediction Center did put that hatched hail risk out with a lot of dry mid-level and upper-level air. So here a lot of big hail is possible, some giant hail with these storms, especially when you have instability up to around 4,000 joules per kilogram. You got D-Cape almost approaching 2,000 joules per kilogram. So that does signify the storms will have really rapid updraft growth here once they start developing and we are seeing a pretty nasty signal here on the hodograph here of a very strong tornado potential across central portions of Kansas, getting down to north central Oklahoma. That's why it does show PDS tornado. Winds out of the south here, very strong, and then here going up in speed and direction with height. Winds will be coming in out of the west-southwest here in the low and mid levels. So that will a lot of turning, a lot of speed shear here for the storms to deal with as we head into our Friday evening, especially after dark. So we'll have to watch that as we could have tornadoes well after dark. In addition to the tornado and severe weather threat, we do have some flash flooding here as well. That is, flash flooding is always a severe weather concern as well. We do have a slight risk of here flash flooding across portions of the Dakotas, getting up into far northern Nebraska, and then a marginal risk of flash flooding from the Weather Prediction Center here from west central Illinois back into most of Missouri, Iowa, Nebraska, and then the east central portions of Kansas and into the Dakotas here as we head into our Friday as well. And you can see that a lot of efficient rainfall producers here. These are the precipitable water values across the Midwest into the mid-Mississippi Valley down into the central and southern plains. Here over 1 inch here of precipitable water. So that means any storm that moves over any one location here could efficiently produce an inch of rainfall here across Iowa, into Illinois, into Missouri, into portions of Oklahoma and Texas especially, as well, as they're kind of approaching an inch and a half of precipitable water down into the Texas region here with these storms. And kind of just in general, just with this event here on Friday, kind of look for here several periods here of some rainfall and some here kind of training of thunderstorms over areas, a couple of different rounds in some spots. Generally here across the Missouri Valley into the mid-Mississippi Valley back into the central and southern plains. In general here, areas could see anywhere from a ½ inch to up to 2 inches of rainfall or more, especially if you can get some more here heavier thunderstorms in one location, and then some backwash moisture up into the Dakotas with some more snowfall, resulting in some precipitation anomalies up that way as well. As we head into Saturday, the Day 3 outlook from the Storm Prediction Center, a slight risk or 15% risk of severe weather from north central Illinois, western portions there of Indiana through southern Illinois, and into the mid-south here into portions of southeastern Missouri, northeastern portions there of Arkansas, getting into western Kentucky, far northwest Tennessee here as well. This does include the Peoria, Illinois area, Champaign-Urbana, Illinois, getting down towards Carbondale, and then Cape Girardeau here into portions there of Missouri, and then kind of getting in toward the Henryville, Indiana area, and just west of portions of Indianapolis, getting up towards South Bend, Indiana, just south of the Chicago Metro here. But the Chicago Metro is still under that marginal risk, and that marginal risk does extend all the way up into south central Wisconsin, including Madison, Wisconsin, getting over toward Prairie du Chien and Dubuque, Iowa areas, and toward Milwaukee. So a lot of areas affected here, more population as we head toward the Day 3 risk on Saturday. We got that warm, moist air pulling up to the north here with temperatures in the 60s, maybe low 70s up near Chicago, Indianapolis. We got here some upper 50s to low to mid 60 dew points all the way up into southern Wisconsin, north central Illinois, western portions here of Indiana, with even 70-degree dew points down here into portions of Texas as well. Plenty of fuel for these storms. And as we get into late Saturday afternoon, storms will be forming here. Kind of a squall line here will kind of develop from South Bend, Indiana, getting down all the way through southeastern portions there of Missouri, getting down here, maybe tailing its way down toward Texas with all that instability, and kind of pushing to the east here into Indiana, maybe western Ohio, southwestern Michigan here with time as well. Maybe another round of some storms trying to develop here behind that with the main cold front as we head here into into Saturday evening, as we head in toward the Milwaukee area, Chicago, getting down here towards the Springfield, Illinois area here as well. Now looking here particularly at the instability, not as high here as on Friday, but still enough values to get some severe weather here. Some pretty high values, however, down into Texas. We do have 2,000 plus joule per kilogram instability. But with northward extent to Illinois, kind of around that 1,000 to 1,500 here instability values, but enough to at least get some elevated storms with some hail, maybe some damaging winds, and a couple of tornadoes are possible as far north here as Illinois. And the reason why the Storm Prediction Center has that slight risk here farther to the north into Illinois and portions here of Indiana, Missouri, and northeastern portions of Arkansas, Tennessee, Kentucky regions is because of all the shear. We got all the westerly and southwesterly here, mid-level and upper-level shear here, and then kind of that low-level shear coming together as well from the south with all that moisture, and where that intercepts that instability here, that's where you have the most here best chance of some supercell thunderstorms. Now the supercell composite, not as impressive as Friday, but still here showing some values across Illinois, particularly east central Illinois into western and central Indiana, getting down here into portions of Texas as well. Significant tornado parameter, not impressive at all, but still some values for tornadoes across Illinois, maybe even southern Wisconsin, getting into Indiana, down through Missouri, and into portions of northeast and central and eastern Texas here as we head into Saturday as well. Now, I did take a sounding of near Peoria, Illinois. There's a very capped atmosphere here at first, but that'll break through here. We got a lot of dry mid-level air, so some hail could be possible, showing a tornado tag here on this as well. Like I said, we got instability around 2,000 or so joules per kilogram, decape approaching 1,000, so at the very least 60 to 70 mile-an-hour wind gusts, maybe some golf ball size hail potential here as well, and potentially here a tornado here cannot be ruled out as well into central Illinois. With winds out of the south, you go up a few thousand feet here in the low mid-levels, winds will be coming out of southwest, a few more thousand feet kind of out of the west-southwest, so a little bit of turning and speed with height does here increase that tornado risk as we head into our Saturday afternoon and evening. Then as we head into Sunday morning, we got that low pressure system peeling off to the east here into portions of east central Minnesota, western and northwestern Wisconsin, and right on its heels, another shortwave trough will be digging down into the desert southwest here as we head into Sunday afternoon, and another low pressure system will start to develop across the four corners and push to the east with another shortwave moving toward Texas, and that is where here what will yield that here severe weather risk as we head into Sunday across west central Texas, and then again on its heels that will continue to push in here a lot of energy across the desert southwest on Monday with that severe weather risk here shifting off into east central Texas, southeastern Oklahoma, into Arkansas and Louisiana here as we head into Monday afternoon. And then you did see on the backside of that another trough here kind of digging down as well as we head into late the following week here as we head into late next week. So there's the Sunday's outlook here from west central portions of Texas around the Lubbock area, Midland, Texas, getting down here west of Dallas-Fort Worth toward the Wichita Falls area. And then as we head into our Monday here, this is Monday next week, you can see Dallas-Fort Worth, McKinney, Texas, Denton, Texas, getting over here toward the Texarkana area, Oklahoma City, Moore, Oklahoma, getting up here just south of Tulsa as we head into our day 5 here outlook from the Storm Prediction Center, putting out a slight risk zone of severe weather on our Monday next week. Then looking at the 6 to 10 day temperature outlook here from the Climate Prediction Center, showing slightly above to mostly above here, normal temperatures across the southern plains into the southeast, especially that Florida panhandle, cooler than normal across the upper Great Lakes, the upper Midwest, and the Northeast here as well, as the Pacific Northwest with all those troughs coming down here. And where those intercept, we got to have well above normal precipitation across much of the Missouri Valley, the central and southern plains, and getting over toward the Ohio Valley and into the Tennessee Valley and up through the Northeast here as these storms push off to the Northeast as well. Drier than normal across the desert Southwest into California, into portions here of Utah, Colorado, New Mexico, and Arizona here as well. Kind of a little bit drier than normal across the upper Great Lakes portions here as well as we go through Saturday, May 7th here, the first week in May. That is for sure. And then here the Climate Prediction Center here is showing Wednesday, all the way through Wednesday, May 11th, cooler than normal conditions are possible, if not likely, across much of the upper Midwest, the Great Lakes, into the Northeast and Mid-Atlantic states here as we head through that time frame. Another ridge will start to develop here towards the middle portion of May, where we'll have here, warmer than normal conditions around the Intermountain West, the Gulf Coast states into Florida, and then more troughing in the Pacific Northwest will yield here cooler than normal temperatures across those areas, with also an increased here precipitation signal as well, with all those troughs coming in the Pacific Northwest, the northern plains, and also above normal precipitation here possible across the southeast into the southern plains as well, with kind of in between here where you have that ridge, kind of some normal to slightly below normal precipitation from the desert southwest up into the here Midwest and mid-Mississippi Valley and the upper Great Lakes regions as we head through Wednesday, May 11th here as we head into the second week in May. So do the thing here. I do thank you for watching my video. There was a lot to get to here. Long video. Thank you for bearing with me. Be sure to like my video. Give me a nice thumbs up here. And also leave in your comments and questions below. I will be able to answer those all day and night. And remember to subscribe to my channel here. I do appreciate you guys subscribing to my channel, as I will have you caught up with all of the latest weather here, events and forecasts here from coast to coast, all the way through here the summer and fall. So thank you very much, and have a great Thursday, everybody.